Dave Barry here for Rivals.com, joined by National Recruiting Director Adam Gorney and National Rankings Director Adam Friedman. We have released our comprehensive team rankings, guys, a combination of how a school does recruiting high school prospects and how successful they are recruiting in the transfer portal. So, Gorney, what are the comprehensive rankings exactly, and why were they needed now?
Yeah, they basically blend the high school team rankings and a transfer ranking. So as a staff, we went through every single transfer in the country. And because transfers are so important and vital to building a roster now on a college football team, we need to rank them. I think it's super important, and it shows exactly who's doing well in the high school football recruiting, who's doing well in the transfer recruiting. We have separate rankings for those, but then blending those two rankings and having a comprehensive ranking was crucial in today's day and age of college football. We also didn't want to really give too much credit to transfers, teams like Colorado who take 50, who completely, change their roster over. So there was really a delicate balance, a lot of meetings, a lot of discussion about how much transfers should count, how many should count, because schools are basically capped in high school rankings. We know schools are probably going to go from 16 to 25, somewhere in that range. In transfers, it's pretty much unlimited up to scholarship numbers. We've seen that at schools this year. So having a high school ranking is, our bread and butter. Having a transfer ranking is a really nice addition for our subscribers to see. But then having that comprehensive ranking of your high school rank and your transfer rank blended into one score that the computer spits out is really crucial to us now.
Yeah, that Colorado example is an interesting one because Colorado is number one in the transfer rankings, but when you combine that with the team rankings, they're 18. So that's an interesting balance. And Friedman, you can talk more to that because you're our quote unquote director of spreadsheets as well here at Rivals. But you can give a quick technical synopsis of how the rankings work and why we settled on the numbers that we did.
Yeah. So the comprehensive team rankings takes into account the top 25 rated players a team is bringing in via transfer or via the high school ranks, and that includes prep prospects or even JUCO prospects. So the point values associated with the Rivals rating or the Rivals transfer rating is totaled up, and then you add to that all of the Rivals 250 bonus points and all of the bonus points that a team gets for signing a top 100 transfer prospect. All of these breakdowns can be found on Rivals.com. We have 3 separate ones for you to peruse. You've got the comprehensive team rankings, the recruiting team rankings, and then the transfer portal team rankings. All 3 of them are laid out on Rivals.com. You can see the bonus structures there. It's really important that we were able to give a holistic view of every player a team is bringing in that cycle. It's really important to be able to judge that. Like you can take, for instance, you see USC, who had a top 10 class, the number 7 in the high school rankings, but when you factor in their transfer rankings, 3rd overall in the comprehensive team rankings. So really important stuff to be able to combine all of that and make a proper determination on how good these players are that are arriving at these schools.
Yeah, definitely. And Gorney, you can talk more about the teams that really benefited from having the transfer rankings incorporated into the comprehensive score when we combine that with the team rankings.
Yeah, and as you look at the transfer rankings, and everyone has been talking about Colorado and the job that they've done, they're number 1 in the transfer team rankings. One of the reasons is they brought in 50 players, so they're going to have a pretty decent, sizable amount of guys. Ole Miss was another one. Louisville did a nice job in the transfer rankings. Auburn, Arizona State, USC. But then there are schools that we don't really talk a whole lot about. SMU was one in the transfer rankings that did really well. Charlotte. Cincinnati was a top 13 school in the transfer rankings. So what we didn't want to do is overblend the transfer rankings into the comprehensive rankings. And for a million reasons that we won't go into the woods, is it's a lot harder to kind of judge 50 Colorado commits and their impact, whether they have 1 year left as a grad transfer, if they have 3 or 4 years left, why they left their previous school. Caleb Williams will probably be the number 1 pick. He was the Heisman Trophy winner. He was a transfer. How do you kind of figure him out in terms of others. So we didn't want to overvalue, but we certainly wanted them to be reflected in a comprehensive ranking. So I think those are some of the schools that really benefited from this. But there are other schools, and I think this is an important part of looking at this too, that really didn't hit the transfer portal hard intentionally because their program is going well. That's not first year staffs, that they needed a lot of change and turnover. They like the development of their guys on their roster. So they shouldn't be necessarily negatively affected by not going after transfers. Some of those schools are Penn State, Kansas State, which won the Big 12 last year, Alabama, and many, many others, elite programs that don't really necessarily have to go to the transfer portal to change over their roster, but then shouldn't be penalized on an overall comprehensive score.
Yeah, a team like Clemson, historically not a big transfer portal team, but you see in their high school rankings from the 23 recruiting cycle, they're ranked number 10 overall. And in the comprehensive ranking, they didn't get dinged very much. They're down to 14th there, but you can see how strong that high school recruiting class was, how much weight we put on it versus how much weight we put on the transfers when it comes to Clemson.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of information to break down there. I'll remind everybody you can go to rivals.com. We're going to have lots of content throughout the week around the comprehensive team rankings. Guys, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.